All right, everybody, we finally got a little bit of Seahawks activity. Concrete, clear, and meaningful activity. The Seahawks have made a move. The Seahawks have decided to take care of a little bit of business before training camp gets started this week. And it has come in the form of an extension. We have extended one of our best players, one of our best defensive players, our best edge player, Uchenna Nwosu. This was a guy who I spoke about quite a bit in previous videos and previous streams, talking about how he was entering a contract year. He signed a 2-year deal last year, so I wondered, were we going to try to take care of him now? Because he did have a breakout year last year. Were we going to try to take care of our business with him before he could have another big year and then probably be worth a lot more? And the answer is yes, we have. So there are a couple different angles here. First of all, to talk about how I feel about the move, I don't think you can really get keeping a guy like Uchenna Nwosu around that wrong. So I'm for it. He's a really good player. He's versatile. He's good against the pass and the run. Good run defender, good pass rusher. And he's a good fit for a 3-4 defense that it seems like we're really trying to commit to. He's a very valuable player that will probably be worth this contract extension. Now, the contract itself, we don't have all the details yet. We know that it's 3 years worth up to $59 million. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean there are incentives in the contract? Maybe. We know it's $32 million guaranteed, which seems a little bit low to me, actually, so that might actually work in our favor, but we're going to have to see exactly how the contract breaks out before I postulate too much on that. But on the surface, keep in mind that this is an extension on the deal that he already had previously. So he's going to be here. Or, well, let me rephrase that. This contract actually runs for 4 years, including this current year. And Nwosu's still a young player. I believe he's going to be 26 this year. So age is not really a concern with him. He might not even be in his prime yet, by the way. 27 might be the prime year for him. That's how it is for a lot of these guys. So he may have some really good football ahead of him. So we'll see about the contract down the line, but it's a 3-year extension worth up to $59 million, and I believe that's on top of the 1 year, and I think it was like $13 million that he had left on the present deal. So a little bit less than $20 million a year, and we'll see how the guarantees make that probably even a little bit less in effect when you think about it, because if he gets released before the final year of the deal, then a lot of that money he doesn't get, because by that point, a lot of it is not guaranteed. All right, so that's just the stuff to do with Uchenna Nwosu. How he fits into this defense this year, it should work really, really well. Nwosu's your best edge player. I believe he still is. He's your starter. I think this year the other starter will probably be Boye Mafe. So you're going to have Nwosu on one side, Mafe on the other side. I think Mafe is poised to have a big breakout year. I think he's going to do really well. So that's good. Off the bench, your key bench edge rusher is going to be Darrell Taylor. And Darrell Taylor has value in this league. He's not a great player, and I don't think he ever will be a great player, but he does have clear value in this league as a pure pass rusher. So he comes in on third downs, on passing downs. Okay, that works. I can live with that. And then you've got your rookie, Derek Hall, kind of picking up whatever's left from those 3 guys. And there's going to be stuff left from those 3 guys, for sure. Or at least there should be, right? Because last year, Uchenna Nwosu probably played too much. And by the end of the year, he probably wore down a little bit. And that probably contributed to why the defense wasn't able to replicate the success that they were having through that 1-month stretch where they looked like maybe the best defense in the league somehow. So I think it works. The following years, however, I don't know exactly how we're going to play this, because you guys know I'm a big Mafe fan. So if you've got Nwosu around and you've got Mafe and he develops the way I expect him to develop, then if Derek Hall develops the way you expect him to develop, then I guess you're kind of saying Darrell Taylor's not going to be a long-term solution here, because at that point, you've kind of got too much. You've kind of got too much in the edge room, and I know you can never really have too many pass rushers, but the issue will be there's going to be somebody in that group who just doesn't play. Now, Taylor does have one more cheap year on his deal, and at the end of the day, he's a very one-dimensional, limited player. So you can keep him around cheap for that one extra year, and he just kind of becomes a situational type player. A, like I said, pure pass rusher, pure third down specialist, or however you plan to play it. But it is going to get crowded, and it could put you in a situation where you might end up trading one of those guys because you've got enough going on there. Then again, and I always stress this, I think the best teams are the teams that have a really good rotation at the edge. And if you can find a way to keep everybody happy and not have to overpay to keep the group together, you can keep an abundance of edge players together. And we are in a position where, by the way, Maffei's still on the rookie deal. Derek Hall's going to be on the rookie deal. So even if everything pans out that way, I think it can come together pretty well. I mean, in a couple years from now, you could be in a situation where you've got Nwosu and Maffei starting, Derek Hall coming off the bench, and then you just kind of replace Darrell Taylor with whoever. It could kind of just be some guy at that point. Excuse me. So I think that all that kind of makes sense. All that works fairly well. It's going to be a little bit interesting if these guys all pan out really well and Maffei becomes a really good edge rusher, Hall does, and then you're like, okay, we got three starting caliber edge players. Somebody's not going to be happy with their playing time, but it's not a bad problem to have. You can always trade one of them. Edge rushers get traded for a lot in this league, especially the really, really good ones. Now, I'm not saying any of those guys is ever going to be as good as Khalil Mack or Von Miller or anything like that, but they could be worth something. So, why now, I guess would be the next question. Why do this now? I think the answer to that is also somewhat clear if you take a look at the other recent Seahawks news. So, if you look at Uchenna Nwosu's former contract, which is still up on overthecap.com, his cap hit for this year was going to be 13, call it 13 million. 13 and 13 million 10,000, I guess. So, with this new contract, which adds 3 years to his previous deal, you are probably looking at that cap number going down. It staggers, right? That's how this always goes. So the first year of the deal might go down to something like 8 million. That would free up $5 million in cap space for 2023. And then it staggers, so like maybe the next year's 13, the next year's 19, the next year's 25, something like that. I don't know. But we'll see exactly how it meters out at the end of the day. But odds are good that Nwosu's cap number went down by like 4 or 5 million for 2023. And that is significant for a couple different reasons. But I think the main reason why it's significant is, I think we've all heard this one from the last day or two, there are currently 3 players in the entire NFL that have not signed a rookie contract yet. Of the 250, 260 draft picks, only 3 of them don't have a contract. 2 of them are Seahawks. Zach Charbonnet, who is apparently going to sign tomorrow, right before training camp gets underway, which, by the way, he can't participate in training camp without a deal. And then you've got Devin Witherspoon, who we don't know about yet. We don't know about Devin Witherspoon yet. I assume that something's going to get done. It's not like, understand that the value of the contract is set in stone by the NFL. The only thing they're negotiating over is the signing bonus, the guarantee, basically. So they're working that part of it out, but that's a very small consideration. I don't think that's anything that anybody would ever hold out over. So I've talked about this before. We needed a little bit of extra money. The Lockett restructure did a lot, but this will get us the rest of the way there, as near as I can tell. I believe this will get us the rest of the way there. Another additional, even if it's just like 3 million, that should get us under the cap by enough to give Witherspoon and Charbonnet their rookie contracts. So I think that's one of the reasons why this happened. We needed to do something, be it cut somebody, release somebody, trade somebody, restructure somebody. Something had to happen, and this was the something. So the Lockett restructure combined with the Nwosu extension gets us all the way there to where we can bring in all of our rookies, still afford a practice squad at the end of the training camp, etc., etc., etc. So that's probably why this happened now. Now, the question is, did we save any additional money when we did this? Did we save any additional money to where maybe we can now bring in an outsider? Say, Shelby Harris. Say, any one of the defensive linemen that's still floating around out there. There are still quite a few. I made a video a while ago, and not much has changed. You still have some pretty good defensive linemen floating around in free agency who I think some of them would be just as good, maybe even a little better than Jarran Reed. So, is this move being made so we can afford to bring in somebody like Shelby Harris? And Shelby Harris is going to be the first guy that a lot of people think of, but there are plenty of other guys too that I think would be just as good. So, we'll keep an eye on that, but I think that if you connect the dots, it's pretty easy to see why this happened now. So, that's really all I got here. Uchenna Nwosu is going to be a Seahawk for at least a few more years. He is very wealthy man now. He deserves it. And hopefully this ends up saving us money in the long term because extending him next year would have been even more expensive. So let's get these rookies signed. Training camp starts in a couple of days here. And hey, things are happening. The front office is churning their legs just a little bit here, getting stuff done, getting things taken care of. So let me know what you guys think down below. Nice to have some stuff going on. And in a couple days, training camp will be here and stuff will be flying fast. All right, see you guys later. Go Hawks.